So, you want to play the best Vecna that you possibly can. Well, I'm here to help you with that. My name is Charging Chuck, and I'm just a Vecna enjoyer, and with the 8.40 changes, I want to potentially help some more people get into Vecna with all of his cooldown changes, very few add-on changes overall. Vecna is in a pretty decent spot, being able to fly around everywhere, body block, stop pallets, deny, so much that the survivors can do. I think Vecna is definitely a slept-on pick right now, and I want to help people get into the best wizard mood that they freaking can. So, let's waste no time. Let's get into the witches, not the witch, the liches add-ons. Side note, most all of the footage you'll be seeing in this video, most of it will be from Asuno, who is the #1 Vecna who live streams on Twitch and has his own YouTube as well. So if you want to see what actual good Vecna gameplay looks like over there, go check that out. Or if you want to catch mid and blind gameplay, you can find my Twitch in the description down below. Let's get freaking right into it. And hey, just thank you. Leave a little like. Your comments down below, your thoughts, it all goes to help in the video. Let's waste no more time. Let's get into our D tier batch. Here we have our first batch of add-ons. Let's freaking get into it. I'll be leaving the description of the items on screen briefly before I get into them. So let's talk about Headband. Increases the range of your skeletons by 4 meters. Great. But didn't you realize Fly to Them is used as a shotgun blast because all the skeletons are up close, which makes them hard to dodge up close through walls and stuff. The only time you're going to be hitting multiple people or people far away is someone's going for a flashlight save and just happens to be in the right spot. Not very worth it at all. For Lantern Revealing, it does have a effect, revealing the auras of survivors near Fly to Them for 3 seconds, but if you're using skeletons, you know where someone is. You're right on top of them. You're using it mid-loop. You're using it around a pallet. You're using it on something. You know where the survivor is 9 out of 10 times we're using a pallet, or using skeletons, or using to get loose speed boost to make them crouch. So, fails at info. It's really only useful around walls, but you have so many aura perks, so much more that you could be doing. Don't use Lantern of Revealing. Stone Ball increases the duration of Killer Instinct from the Dispelling Spear for 3 seconds. Problem is, it's a big ball. You get Killer Instinct. You're to use it far away and run on top of somebody mid-loot to disable their item, so you use it far away and you know where someone is, or you use it literally right on top of someone. Killer Instinct for 3 extra seconds is not going to help you. Glass Eye, like Lantern Revealing, does have a decent effect, but not really too useful. Increases the size of Dispelling Spear by 2 meters, not bad. Increases speed by 10. Good, but this is really only useful for far away Dispelling Spears on distant gens. Which by then, unless they have the freaking Dispelling Spear glove or boots, you wouldn't need the Glass Eye for that anyway, so decent effect. Ring of Telekinesis is a interesting effect, where if you use the Mage Hand on an upright pallet, your vaulting speed is increased by 10% for like 8 or 10 seconds, I forget the duration. Problem is how many windows are right next to a pallet. I can only really think of Midwich and Shack. This is just Shack D add-on. Not very useful. You're going to be right next to someone. Unless it's Shack, you're not really going to get much value out of this, so just don't freaking use it. With our bottom tier add-ons out of the way, we can get into the low tier, which is not a very big batch, but let's jump right into it. Cloak of Elven Kind reduces your terror radius by 8 meters while using the fly spell, and apparently this effect lingers for 6 seconds. I do not know how accurate that is. Good effect, but think of it like this. Vecna already goes, there is the fly magic item that will reveal him. This is the stealth item, but it just does poorly when there are so many ways to see Vecna wiretap. There are literally so many ways to see if he's flying right towards you. And besides, you want to use fly to either get to somewhere or over a pallet or window. This add-on just fails. Just use Unforeseen or something if you want stealth with Vecna, or even just Plaything if you really want to stealth with Vecna's fly. Ornate Horn increases the number of skeletons by 1. This would be a useless add-on by itself, but for one future add-on there was only one purpose to use this, so we're going to go over this very quickly once we get to our B tier add-on that this pairs with. I forgot to grab the information for our last C tier one, but it's very simple. Trickster's Glove increases the duration that a pallet is held up by Mage Hand for half a second, which is not bad. But there's one add-on that does its job better and potentially helps you if you use Mage Hand early or just bad timing. So there's one add-on down the road that does its job better. We'll get into that down the road. But with that, we can get into our B tier batch. Let's freaking do it. Ever B tier batch of items, which is a bigger one. Let's get right into it, starting with the cloaks. Robe of Eyes. Whenever you use a spell, see survivors were found around 8 meters of a chest. Pretty good. And with Fly only being 25 seconds now, very good for flying around the map and seeing if people are around chest or not. So like I said, this really works with the Fly cooldown, using Dispelling Spear. It's not really going to help too much with Mage Hand or Skeleton because you're going to be right next to a person, but flying around with Dispelling Spear, this is the perfect information perk just for you, which is very solid. But depending on how well your match is going, you could get a lot or not a lot of value, because unfortunately, only Dispelling Spear and the Mage Hand magic item that gives you haste when Vecna uses Mage Hand are the kind of only two good ones. Denying him information with the Dispelling Spear and running past a Mage-handed pallet. So, definitely very good add-on, but its mileage depends on how much survivors actually go for items, which is not a lot depending on some games. As for the other cloak, the Cloak Invisibility, when you are all out of your spells, go in, what's it called? Next we have the Cloak Invisibility. Once you've used all your spells, you become undetectable for 10 seconds. Good effect, but for only 10 seconds of having no access to any of your spells. Not a very good duration. It was like 15 to 20. That would work, but with Fly coming back even sooner, you're actually potentially going to have this more or less. Not a bad effect, but you just have to magically have everything line up to be undetectable. Our next two that we'll be covering, Staff of Withering and Dragon Tooth Dagger. Staff of Withering, very simple. Dispelling Spear causes exhausted on survivors for 20 seconds. Very good, either from used from afar or right on top of a healthy or injured survivor mid-loop to stop dead hard or any other little exhaustion. Very good add-on. But of course, you have to have Dispelling Spear by your side. Overall, very solid add-on. You're definitely going to get a lot of use of this. As for Dragon Tooth Dagger, it is your standard Mango Hemorrhage add-on. The only bad thing about this add-on is it is only 45 seconds versus others being 60, 70. Like prime example off the top of my head, Houndmaster's Spike Collar being 60 seconds. So don't know why it's shorter on Vecna, because you gotta think of it. Picking up someone, hitting them, carrying them to hook, everything timed her on hook. It's just, why does it only 45 seconds when others are 60, 70? So hopefully if Vecna does get touched up in the future, hopefully this gets buffed up. Otherwise, this would be like a solid A tier item, because it'd be your mangled hemorrhage, and you wouldn't have to use Sloppy or Gift of Pain. Overall, good add-on, but duration's too short. Do you remember our friend the Horn that we talked about very early on in the video, and we skipped it? That's because the Book of Vile Darkness has to almost always be run with the Horn. The Book of Vile Darkness, very good effect on the fly, blocks a window for free without needing bamboozle or crowd control. Very strong effect, and with Fly being Vecna's shortest cooldown now, even better. So honestly, very good if you love to fly around with Vecna, but the downside is that we'll cover the downside later. The upside is that skeletons spawn lower to the ground, making them uncrouchable. So these are guaranteed to be hit all the time. So what do you do with free hits and free bamboozle? The problem is that you only get 2 skeletons. Yes, you have only 2. They may be uncrouchable, but this is where we go back to where, Vecna's skeletons are a shotgun pattern. They're like that for a reason. Because you need multiple to hit people trying to run left or right. And that's where the Horn comes into the equation. It gives you 3 skeletons but these must be ran together because with just a Book of Vile Darkness alone, you do not have a middle skeleton. They go off to the side. So you don't have a middle skeleton at all with Book of Vile Darkness, but so that's why you must run the Horn so that you can have a middle skeleton. So you do the book, you're forced to run these together. Very strong effect, but at the cost of losing your only damaging spell. It's a give or take, because with Fly being Vecna's possibly second best spell now, book is great, but are you going to want to lose your skeletons? That's the true question. Anyways, with that, I believe we can move on to the A-tier add-ons now. Next batch of A-tier add-ons is right freaking here. We won't spend very long on this. The wiki description is wrong. It is now 2 seconds after the 8.40 changes. All spells are permanently reduced by 2 seconds. Good. But problem is that one other cooldown add-on kind of does its job better and can work multiple times. So you can either just have a flat-out reduction, or use our other cooldown reduction in S tier that can proc multiple times in a chase. So let's see what's up next. Next on our list is the Vorpal Sword. When survivors are in the Dispelling Spear, they become broken, which is very good. As for the other effect, it causes Mage Hand to destroy dropped pallets. And I will have to be corrected on this in the comments for Vecna enjoyers. I believe it does block pallets as well. Once again, I will need people correcting me on that, but I do believe it blocks them as well. So, Free Broken denies syringes and septics, possibly. And, Mage Hand may block pallets, so overall very, very strong add-on that you can use with pretty much almost any other thing as well. Boots of Speed, get the hit, guaranteed. This leads to a lot of things. Vorpal Sword, Dispelling and Staff of Withering, Exhausted and Broken, guarantees that someone dies. Overall, very, very good add-on. If you want to deny survivors healing, let's freaking go. As for our final two A-tier add-ons, we have Boots of Speed, which gives you 5% haste for 2 seconds when using Mage Hand on a pallet. So remember how we talked about Trickster's Glove? Well, basically Boots of Speed, if you couldn't make it around a pallet from using Mage Hand on it, Boots of Speed might just be the little boost that you need. Whether you use Mage Hand early, potentially a little late, just a tiny hit of speed can make the difference versus just flat out half a second of the pallet being held up longer. Boots of Speed allows you to be a little incorrect on your timings with Mage Hand. As for Bag of Holding, that's my personal favorite Vecna add-on, and I believe it would be like his second to third best if survivors had reasons to go for magic items. What Bag of Holding does is that it guarantees you will have 2 mimics on the map. Very good. And when someone gets hit by a mimic, you see their aura, you get a loud noise notification. So this basically serves as a low budget lethal pursuer, if you think of it like that way. And that's why I like it. Problem is that, like I mentioned, only Mage Hand and Dispelling Seer are like the really good magic items that you want. So, and some teams go for them, some don't. Just like Robes of Revealing, you either get a lot out of this or you doesn't. I've had games where I've been able to get someone within the first 30 seconds because of them hitting a mimic. Had games where, you know, people trying to go where I hook someone just so happens to open a mimic as I hook someone. This gives you information, this gives you stuff that you need, but mileage may vary. And with that, we can move on to the S tier now. Let's go. Our last 3 add-ons for Vecna. Here we have our final 3 add-ons for the Lich himself. Pearl of Power, we'll cover this one extremely quickly. When you basic attack someone, your cooldowns, all of your cooldowns become reduced by 3 seconds. Of course, this is all taken from the wiki, that has not been updated. So unlike spell storing, you can hit someone multiple 2 times, someone body blocks, dead hard, whatever. That is 6 to 9 seconds potentially saved on spell versus a flat out 2. And this is for all of your spells. So you fly, boom, 3 seconds. Use skeletons to hit someone, they crouch, boom, skeletons and fly are reduced. So very, very strong, works multiple times mid-chase. As for our final two, these are very quick as well. Potion of Speed reduces your cooldown after flying for half a second. I'm just going to believe the wikis after that because it's half a second on DBD. So what this means is that for half a second, you can swing or use spells out of fly faster, which is very, very good for body blocking, getting around the map and hitting someone faster. This just allows you to use your spells and get hits that you normally wouldn't. Pallets, windows, whatever the case, you get the picture. As for Raven's Feather, extends fly for half a second. So now you can fly longer, and if I'm correct, Vecna's speed during flying is 6.3 meters. Combine that with perks like Rapid Brutality, which is a very good user of, Furtive Chase, whatever. Now you go from 6 meters to like 7, maybe almost 8. And with the extra second, that is even longer and faster that you fly, including with the new bug where you can just completely pass through survivors while flying. Combine that with Potion Speed and you are just the ultimate body blocker. Survivors are not going to be able to do anything if you run to both of these or just one of these alone. So, that'll do it for the list. Leave your thoughts down below in the comments. Little likes, little comments, anything. And remember, check out Asuna, who is live on Twitch and on YouTube. But if you maybe want to see some blind and questionable Vecna gameplay, I stream on my Twitch in the description as well. Thank you if you somehow sat through all of this. Y'all very freaking awesome.